Hey everybody. So when we were in class together, one of the things that we discussed was the Egyptian mythology and where they believed things came from and how they believed the afterlife worked. So today I want to share with you a story from Greek mythology. That is how they explained the changing of the seasons. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Olympians and their family tree. It's still a little loopy. It's not as loopy as the Egyptian one, but it's still a little intense. So, yeah, so we'll get into that when we actually formally get to ancient Greece. But one thing that you really need to know is, if you don't already, is that Zeus was the head of all gods and goddesses. He was the big guy, the big kahuna. And his brothers also had positions of power, and they've got a lot of respect, high regard. But there was one brother, Hades, who ended up being sent to rule over the underworld. There was drama there. Big beef. But regardless, so Hades was not having, the same life as everybody else that was up on top with Mount Olympus, and they were all, in the clouds and living what you would think the life of a god or goddess should actually be like. He was in the underworld with the souls, all of that business. The Greek underworld is pretty spooky. There's this whole river Styx, and you have to be ferried across and blah, blah, blah. So he's not having that great of a time. So the story goes like this. One day, Hades is out on Earth. He's come up from the underworld. He's on Earth. And he just so happens to kind of pass by where Aphrodite and her son Cupid, you might recognize that from the idea of the Cupids on Valentine's Day. Aphrodite and her son Cupid are playing, and Aphrodite says, "Hey, I have not been able to make Hades fall in love. Why don't you see if you can shoot him with an arrow through the heart and make him fall in love?" And so Cupid, or Eros as he's called, is all challenge accepted, right? So shoots the arrow straight through the heart. Classic. All of a sudden, I'm sorry, not Pluto. That's the Roman name for him, Hades. All of a sudden, Hades, or Pluto, is like, heart eyes emoji, right? He's like, oh my goodness, I'm falling in love. And he turns around and he just happens to see this woman in a field gathering flowers. So, of course, he falls in love with her. That's the first person he saw. So he was like, she's going to be my wife. I'm going to take her back to the underworld with me. This is the problem, though. The woman that he saw, well, her name was Persephone, and her mother is Demeter. Okay? Now, Demeter is also, living in Olympus. She is the goddess of, like, the harvest, and like the hearth. Like, think everything that's like warm and cozy about a home, and making sure that people have plenty of food and things are growing and blooming and all of that goodness. Okay, so Persephone was out gathering flowers, and her mother was not around. And sure enough, Hades just scoops her up, and she's crying. She's like, no, let me go, let me go. And he's like, haha, no, I am in love with you. I shall marry you. And they go to the underworld. So when Demeter hears about this, she understandably freaks out. She was like, my daughter has been taken? The thing is, though, she doesn't know at first that Hades did it. She thinks the earth just swallowed her whole. So she's like, how dare you, earth? I blessed you and made things grow, and so now I'm taking all that back. Nothing's going to grow, and there's no flowers and no crops and anything like that. Nothing. I'm taking it all back. Okay, she was really mad, obviously, because her daughter had just been kidnapped. So Zeus was like, hey, I saw the whole thing. How about we send our messenger god Hermes to go deal with Hades in the underworld, because he's the one who took her. But it's okay. So long as she didn't eat anything while she was in the underworld, then it'll be totally fine. She'll come back. Everything will be totally fine. She won't be stuck there at all. And Demeter's like, okay, fine. Send Hermes immediately, right? Okay, so Persephone is obviously miserable because she wants flowers and things like that. I mean, think about who her mom is. And Hades is like trying to give her jewels and gold and all of these things. And she's like, none of this matters to me. I just want to go home. He's like, no, look, pretty things, and you could have a life here. And she's like, not having it, okay? So, he's at least trying to get her to eat. He's like, please, eat something. I don't want you so upset. I don't want you to be, hungry. I don't want you to hurt yourself. You know, I'm in love with you. Please be my wife. And she just, again, still not having it. Still not having it. But she took... He was bringing her all this food, but she only took 4 little pomegranate seed things, and she only like kind of sucked the juice out of 4 of them. Okay? Or 3 of them. Should be 3 of them. I'm sorry. I reread the story this morning and it said 4, but I think it actually means 3. Because those right there, because she did the 3 right there, Hermes, when he came down, he was like, oh good, you know, found her, she's fine and everything. And he's like, oh no, did you eat? And she's like, only those 3 little seeds. And so they bring her back up and they're trying to explain to everybody, and she was like, I only ate the juice out of 3 little seeds. And so the arrangement that they came to, because Hades, remember, he's still in love with her. He's been shot with the magic love arrow. So, is that he would only expect her to live with him during 3 months out of the year, because she only ate the juice from those 3 seeds. And that the rest of the time, she could be up above ground, gathering flowers, doing all of that business with her mom, but that she had to spend 3 months out of the year in the underworld with him. And so that's why the Greeks believed that for 3-ish months out of the year, things don't grow and stuff like that. Now, we know today that it's just because of the climate, the changing of the seasons. But before they had all of the science laid out in ancient Greece, this was how they explained it. They said, well, you know, it's winter and Demeter is in mourning because Persephone had to go back and live with Hades for, you know, this portion of the year. So she's sad and she's upset, and so nothing is going to grow. And, you know, make sure you get all your crops in before this. And, you know, this is the time of year when she's sad. So, okay. I'm going to post this. And what I want you guys to do is, when I post it in Google Classroom, I want you guys to start a discussion thread underneath telling me what you thought about the story. Telling me if you thought it was interesting, if you thought it, even if you thought it wasn't very good. Ask me any questions you have, anything like that. And make sure that you come in and participate on this thread so that I can give you your daily grade, your attendance and your daily grade, okay? Thanks, guys. See you later.